right, everything looking all right?
I think it looks fantastic in here. It even has a nice, warm, piney smell.
Well, it's certainly not as cold as it's been.
I'm wearing a t-shirt. You know it's not cold if I'm wearing a t-shirt.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to After Prison Show and another podcast-style feel of a video featuring my good old pal from prison, Tom.
Morning, Joe.
Hey, a couple of things to mention real quick. Tom, good to see you.
Good to see you too, bud.
Couple of things to mention real quick as we get up into this. We do now currently have the F on the board in the background. Read comments that mentioned, that was really fucking with people's COPD or CO.
What's COPD? So they were having respiratory problems from not having an F. You know what? I get respiratory problems from not getting an F too.
I literally just had a brain aneurysm right there. What's it called?
OCD?
OCD.
Yes.
You down with OCD? Yeah, you know me. Anyways, a couple of things. So the F is there. Tom is here. And now we do have a third B-roll wide angle shot. Hopefully all of this is going to look good, feel good, sound good. And I want to thank each and every one of y'all for taking the time to check out the first video that we did like this. This is probably the third video that you're seeing like this. And I hope you enjoyed the second one because the second one certainly goes in. Hey, remember the second one?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys like that and hopefully you'll like this one as well. So anyways, Tom, what are your thoughts seeing people check out the video, seeing you and their warm response to you?
I was actually really taken aback at first when I started reading some of these comments. They were really feel good comments. Like the people out there surprised me because I had literally set myself for, okay, these are all going to be really bad comments. Everybody's going to hear my story. They're going to see what I've got to say. They're going to look at me and see this big bald-headed guy with a beard who looks like a prick and go, oh, yeah, you're full of shit. Nobody's life could be that shitty, and not make up stories to cover your own ass. But I own my shit, you know what I'm saying? And I said that during the video, and I guess it came through because those comments were amazing, and I really appreciate that. I do. I appreciate everybody who sent any positive feedback and saying that they were proud of me and that they wanted to see me do good. That's how I feel.
Kudos to you, Tom. I'm glad that it got the warm reception that, of course I hope that it would. Look, this video is going to be a real good, feel good, have some fun type of a video. We're going to share some stories in this and some topics for discussion that I think you guys are going to find interesting. And we're going to go ahead and get right into this. If you know Joe Does Stuff, my other YouTube channel, you'll know from there I like to do little investigative pieces. I've done them here on After Prison Show, and I carry those over to Joe Does Stuff. Maybe I'm exploring or doing research on abandoned places, things that I find interesting and maybe others might not. But one of the latest things that I did an investigative piece on is an adult video store in this country bumpkin town here in Virginia. It's called the Waverly Adult Video Store. It's called the Country Bookstore. It's called the Waverly Bookstore. This place has a number of different names, all for the same address. And when I first ran across this place, the reason for that was because there was a seedy little motel that I was considering purchasing and turning into a full-on Airbnb themed room place. This was after I did my last flip, and I don't want to bore you guys with all of those details, but the fact of the matter is I was looking at this motel. Right next door was this adult video store, and part of my thinking was, I was like, yo, we could have themed rooms like the Shake and Bake Methamphetamine Airbnb. You come stay in a room like that. It's a roadside attraction. Anyways, there were some real legs to this idea. The fact of the matter is I would read a lot of news stories and realize that the county wanted to demolish this motel. Show shit, they've done so, even with the place for sale. Could you imagine buying this place just to have it demolished and so to your bank account? Because that's what would have happened there. You got a parking lot at this point. Here's the Medley Inn. And all that's left of it. Look at this. It's gone. But the video store is jumping. All right. We're going up in there. But when it was demolished, the adult video store stuck out just that much more. I did some research on this because every time I would go by here, which wasn't very often, this place was packed. All these cars in the parking lot, and I'm thinking to myself, who the fuck's got a DVD player or a VCR these days, first and foremost? And second of all, there's got to be more going on here than really meets the eye. Turns out, spoiler, if you haven't seen that video and now you've got some interest in that, I don't want to spoil this for you. It's a bit of a hangout for homosexuals. I went there undercover.
Wait a minute. What? You went there undercover? Oh, you mean
to see
investigatively?
Yeah, because
okay.
I read the reviews and they talked about they had a theater in there. They talked about they had little Jack Shacks in there. Like, the shit was crazy. So I went undercover. If you want to see more of that, that's over on Joe Does Stuff. But I share all of that with you because I was telling Tom this story about this particular seedy little establishment. And Tom said, I know exactly what you're talking about. Have you been there?
Actually, Joe, I have. There's a funny little story that goes with that. Would you like me to tell you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, it's a pretty good one. So we're going to go back and I'm going to pull up one of the characters from our first discussion about Carly. So
character,
yeah.
Not even an ex-girlfriend.
We're just at this point.
Not even somebody, you know.
They're just characters in a story that's going so wrong.
Carly, if you ever see this, I hope that you're doing well out there. And you're,
I do too. Honestly, yes.
And your life is so much better without Tom.
It's definitely better without Tom. I'm a seedy character. What do you expect?
Obviously, if y'all ended up at this adult bookstore.
So here's the deal.
Which is not a bookstore nor video store at all. That is a straight front. This joint is like the rest stops from Something About Mary. Like, it is a straight hangout and haven for nefarious homosexual activity.
Yeah, it's the Blue Oyster from, what was that, the cop movie?
I don't know.
I can't remember the name of the cop movie now. And I'm sure everybody out there is going, it's this. How can you not remember? It's the one where the guy made the weird noises with his mouth and
Starsky and Hutch?
No.
Oh.
Had High Tower. I can't remember. The basketball player was in it. And anyway, needless to say, these two cops get set up and they get sent to this...
Police Academy?
Police Academy. That's it.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
They wound up in the Blue Oyster. Anyway, yeah, this is the Blue Oyster of Waverly, apparently. So let me, without further ado, let me go and tell you what happened. So, so Carly was going out and she would go off on her own sometimes and disappear for hours. And this is some part of the situation why I wasn't really as comfortable as I was with the relationship. And yes, there were some extracurricular things going on within that relationship. I wasn't actually cheating on her, but I was definitely looking for an out. And I was definitely looking for someone to have that out with. So, without further ado, I found out that I guess that she was going there and meeting someone. So I took it upon myself to go out there. I was like, what is going on? Why are you meeting at the way? Because I saw the text is what was happening. I saw the text on her phone. And I was like, you're meeting at the Waverly Bookstore? What the hell is the Waverly Bookstore? So I type it into my phone, I get the address, and I go there.
And
walked in and went, what the fuck?
Hold on, why?
What is really going on? Wait a minute.
Why did you say that?
Because
look, let me paint this picture. When you walk through the front door of this establishment, it is a video store. They've got like 2 little racks of videos, and that's it, you know. And the rest of the action takes place in the back of the establishment. Right. There's a theater back there. There's even further back that I didn't get to go into, which I imagine are like probably hotel-style rooms, and that's where the real Pound Town type of shit takes place. And then you go around the corner, and then there's these little phone booth-like things playing the adult videos, and you can go in there and handle your business. These are Jack Shacks for real.
Yes.
You mentioned that the girl Carly was going there, your ex-girlfriend.
Right.
I forgot to mention that it's not just a haven for homosexuals. You know, there's also women who go there. Like, this is like where you go to try to get group activities taking place. And I'm not talking about no paint nights.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't paint night.
Maybe a certain type of...
Yeah, there was some painting going on, all right. With a sprayer. Anyway, so...
Hold on. So you walk in and you say,
I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's a bookstore. That's what I got.
Right.
So I'm like, it's an adult bookstore? What the fuck is...
So your girlfriend's there.
Well...
Now, mind you, let's also go back to video one where you said that, you know, she was overtly jealous.
Yeah.
So we could say that maybe she was so jealous because she was up to no good.
Right.
And then look at Tom talking about how jealous she is.
Right.
And here's Tom chasing her down.
Well, because I didn't know what the fuck... Here's the thing. I'm like, what the hell is this? Why is she meeting someone here? That was my thing. I was...
Did you find out?
Oh, yeah. So... I talked to the guy there and I was like, hey, look, you know, I'm supposed to be meeting my girl here, blah, blah, blah. So her Jeep is in the parking lot. And so I just assumed that she was there. But it turns out she wasn't anyway. But the guy's like, well, you're more than welcome to go in the back and, you know, go see. And so when I walked in the back, I was like, oh my fucking God, what the fuck is going on here?
Why? What did you see?
Because they were like, you know... You could tell, man, these people are gay. I mean, there's definitely some homosexual things going on there.
Where did you go? Did you go into the theater?
I walked into the back into the theater. And
so it was packed?
And there was people there, and I was like...
You could see? Because when I went in there, it was dark.
It was pretty... Well, I mean, when you open the door up, you can see a little bit. And I was like, I'm in the wrong fucking place. There's no fucking way she's here. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm like, hey, man, is this it? Just the theater? And he's like, well, there's some private rooms, and unless, you know, you have an invitation, you can't really go back there. And I was like, well, you know, my freaking old lady's here. And he's like, oh, man, I'm not getting in the middle of that, dude. You know, I'm going to have to ask you to leave because, you know, I was like, well, okay, cool, I'll leave. So I go outside. I wait by the freaking Jeep. I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting and waiting and waiting. I was out there for about 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. She was taking full advantage of the facilities, I imagine, if she was there.
So she's not. I'm sitting there, and then I see a car pull up, and I guess when she pulled up in the car with whoever this guy was that she was with, because I never actually got out of the vehicle to say anything. When I saw him pull up, they saw me, and they took off again. So I got, you know, in my car, started my car up, and I drove off. And I just said, fuck it, I'm not gonna make a scene out of this. I went home, and so when she gets to the house, she's like, what are you fucking stalking me? Blah, 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 blah. I was out with a friend of mine. I was like, hold on. First, I want to ask one question. Why the fuck are you at the Waverly bookstore that's a fucking gay haven? What is that about? And she's like, I don't even want to discuss it with you. I said, hold on. Is the dude you're with gay? I mean.
Was he?
Yeah. So apparently... her and this guy and some other dude are going to a hotel room and mixing it up. And so that was part of
How did that make you feel, Tom?
With my hands.
What?
I felt with my hands. Yeah, I was...
Hold on, Tom. We gotta really... we gotta really describe what you're talking about. Would you beat her up?
No, I didn't beat her up. I did some interior remodeling.
Oh, Tom.
So
her house?
Well, my shit.
Oh, God.
I picked up some of my shit and threw it around. So,
oh, man.
Yeah, some tattoo equipment that I later on was a little disgruntled that I destroyed the shit.
Why were you so upset about this?
Because she made such an issue out of, if you don't want to be here, you can fucking leave, blah, blah, blah. What you should have just told me is I'm busy going to Pound Town. Needless to say.
You got to really reword that.
I just, whatever they were doing, you know, this. I don't know. Anyway, whatever it was going on, I was despondent. She explains to me, it's not like that. I'm trying to help them work through their relationship. That's her excuse. In the back of my mind, I filed that away under you're full of shit and I'm going to find out what's going on, which never happened. That never came to fruition because it was literally several days later that she threw herself in front of the bedroom door and I had to make egress through a window.
You know, it started to make a little more sense what was going on here. She was jealous of you. You were jealous of her. There were a lot of components to this whole situation.
Components.
And
yes. Components, people. Components. I don't know what was happening. So yeah,
the short of it is she was a Catholic school teacher.
Catholic school teacher. That's the best part. I'm just saying.
Oh,
hey, look,
my God.
I want to make sure that I'm not bashing any Catholic school teachers out there. I am sure that there are some very wholesome I'm trying to say this with a straight face, folks, and Joe is just busting up over here. Look, I am sure that there are some very wholesome and very dedicated school teachers, whether you are Christian school teachers, Catholic school teachers, teach at a yeshiva, whatever that is. Anyway, I'm sure. However, I'm not.
Did she break your heart, Tom?
Can't you tell? No. She didn't. I do though. In retrospect, now I do wish her the best. I really do, and I hope whatever happened with her relationship with her second or third cousin that she hooked up with works out great.
Yeah, Tom definitely got his heart broke right there. But look, I'm sorry to hear that happened to you. It was good while it lasted. I guess.
It was fun. We'll just say it was fun.
Anywho, I never knew that story was going to go so far into left field. And, you know, I do appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry to have brought up such a...
It was absolutely...
I'm sorry to have tore that scab off.
It was horrible, man. It was just really...
Yeah, I can imagine. When you find out your girlfriend is engaging in group activities.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, that's detrimental right there. It's not just one Jody.
It's multiple Jodies.
It's Jodies.
Jodi. Jodi, is that
the plural definition?
The plural definition.
All right, anyway, so hey, appreciate you sharing that about the Waverly Inn.
Sure.
If you would like to see Joe go undercover to this establishment, check it out over on Joe Does Stuff. Matter of fact, I'll include a link down below if you want to see that video. There's really not a whole hell of a lot to it, so it's probably pointless. But anyways,
right.
While we're on the subject of love interest,
okay,
I want to move on to something else that you had shared with me, and I think this is going to be a really interesting story. Mm-hmm. Tom, you had mentioned to me that you had a TV show reach out to you.
Yes, I did.
Now, this is a TV show that I'm familiar with, and they've reached out to me. I've got a little history with them. We'll talk about that in this. But it was Love After Lockup.
Yep.
Tom, what were they reaching out to you for? When did they reach out to you? How did they find out about you? Like, how did...
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let me tell you how.
Please explain.
What actually happened is I was looking for gigs under the gig section
on Craigslist.
On Craigslist, right? You're very familiar with Craigslist.
I already know that they got every post up there.
Right. So I went on there and I was looking at some of the gigs, and then one of them was a talent gig, and it happened to be, and it didn't mention that it was Love After Lockup or any of that. It was like, do you have a significant other or a girlfriend that's locked up, and you're going to be involved in a relationship with them when they get out? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I just sent an interesting email to him and said, yeah, I'm interested in this. Does it pay? Blah, blah, blah. Because at this point, I'm looking for any money I can bring in. Didn't think anything of it. It was probably 2-3 weeks later before I got contacted by, I guess, one of their recruiters. And she went through the whole story with me. And so that we can catch up on that, I was seeing a woman that was incarcerated. We had developed a relationship over a 4-year period while I was locked up and she was locked up.
How'd you meet her?
I actually met her through a friend of mine named Brittany, who was locked up. This is one of my friends. She is now home and doing freaking great.
Shout out to Brittany.
Yeah, Brittany's going to the same program that I go to for the Suboxone program. She's doing really good. She was at one of my counseling sessions last night. So really cool. Maybe one day.
Shout out to you for going to the groups.
Yeah, maybe one of these days she'll. You might want to talk to her. I don't know. She's a really cool person. Really down to earth. So back to the issue. So she introduced me to Christy. I'll give some names on this one. I don't mind. So Christy and I went back and forth with the letter thing while I was in jail, and then I went to the CCAP program. We stayed in contact there. And then when I came home, we were still in contact, and I put money on the phone and put money on her books. And
this was during this most recent incarceration?
Just recently.
Okay.
This is the most recent. And since I came home in August, I was taking care of her a little bit while I was incarcerated.
So you were sending that?
I was sending that. Yeah, I sent her money. I took care of stuff like that. And I also let her know that Love After Lockup had contacted me about our relationship. And she was like, cool. I said, I told them to get in contact with you because ultimately this is going to be about you as well. And she was like, oh yeah, cool. And so I don't know whatever happened on her end, because I'm going to tell you what happened. So she was supposed to come home on the 16th of December.
Well, before we get to that, I don't mean to cut you
sure.
off. Let's talk more about Love After Lockup, the conversation you had with them, and also how often are you in contact with them? Are you updating them? Like, talk about...
Well, okay, so I was updating them at that point. We were, I guess we were talking about once a week.
What were they talking about doing? Were they talking about coming down and filming?
Yeah, they were going to film in my house. They wanted to be able to film her, film me, my roommate, obviously, who lives there.
Did they talk about paying y'all?
And they were going to do compensation based on whoever was chosen to be featured. So if they were at my house and they were featuring my roommate and our dynamic, and Christy and our dynamic and what was going on at the house, they were going to pay whoever was involved. I don't know what the compensation was because they never actually gave a number.
Right.
They didn't actually say, oh yeah, we're going to pay you this much or we're going to pay you that much. And I stayed in contact with them right up until Christy was supposed to come home. And I told them, I said, yeah, she's coming home on the 16th. This was the week of the 16th. I spoke to them and they were like, yeah, we've talked to our directors. It looks like we're going to move forward. We're going to be contacting you again here soon. As soon as Christy comes home, then we'll sit down and have, a discussion and go over the legalities and the paperwork. And I was like, great, this is wonderful. It was cool. And it was be a good way to kind of showcase how relationships do work when people come home.
Right.
And that was my motivation behind it. Of course, money too. I'm not going to lie. Any extra money was great at this point. You just come home and you really don't have a whole lot going on, money-wise. So pretty much, yeah, Christy's supposed to come home on the 16th. Her son is picking her up. The 16th comes and the 16th goes and the 17th goes.
Hold on, what do you mean? The 16th comes and goes.
I never heard a word from this chick. Nothing.
I was about to ask, did you try to call her, but you wouldn't have no way to call her?
I had no way to call her.
Yeah, she don't have a phone.
So she didn't have a phone. I don't have the phone number to her son. I don't have a phone number to her mom, who's living in Florida or Georgia or something like that. So I have no way to contact her whatsoever. So she literally got out and ghosted me.
How did that make you feel?
Again, with my hands. No, I controlled it very well this time.
Another one! Come on! It broke it. It makes me feel better to break things.
I'm gonna tear things
It's a
up.
pencil.
Yeah.
Yo, man, that is terrible, Tom. I'm sorry to hear about that.
It was horrible. And and this is the thing I said to Brittany, because Brittany, of course, hooked us up. Brittany was like, I feel really bad that I hooked you up with somebody who turned out to be a piece of crap. And I was like,
well,
that's not your fault.
Let's not put labels on her.
Right.
Anything could have happened. She could have been scared. Hey, look, I don't, maybe this isn't the right thing for me or whatever. I don't even know why I'm defending this person that we don't know. It doesn't matter. What I think most of this situation is, can you imagine if Love After Lockup had come down? Tom's sitting there with his dozen roses and his dunce cap on, right?
Big red nose and floppy shoes.
Have you seen the memes that are like how I look when I'm watching you do what? And it's like a clown. You're just dressed like a clown. Can you imagine Love After Lockup comes down? They're like, hey, Tom, here we are. We're ready to film this. She's coming home. You excited? Tom's excited. They're waiting at the bus stop and they're waiting. and they're waiting. And I mean, this is gold right here. Like, I don't even know why they missed the mark. They should have came and filmed
a really good one.
Yeah, Love After Lockup. This is what really happened.
This is the real deal. This is how it really
Tom
works
got
out.
ghosted. Yeah. He sent that, and she said, adios.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Wherever Christy's at, we wish her the best as...
Do you really? Do you really? I need a drink on that, and this is non-alcoholic, just so everybody knows.
Oh, man, I'm sorry to hear that you went through that, Tom. That's terrible right there. So let's continue with this. Sure. You're supposed to be doing a TV show here.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So they contact me. I want to say it was probably 3 days after she was supposed to be home.
Giving you enough time to get acclimated with her. She's home,
and
a little comfortable. They're ready to come and film.
They're like, so how's everything going with you and Christy? And I went, it's not. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, she never showed up. They were like, what? I said, okay, let me clarify. She never showed up. So I have no idea how things are going with Christy. I don't know. So I just, at this point, I'm going to have to tell you guys, unless you want to do a show about how a guy got stood up by a girl who was supposed to be coming home to him, I really don't know what to say to you.
Which would have been a gold mine of a segment right there. Yeah. I mean,
it would have been short.
They got a soundtrack. It's like wah wah
wah wah wah. Yeah.
Man, that sucks. So you tell them that she didn't materialize, and
they just say, well, if you hear from her, get back in touch with us. And I said,
they checked you right off the list. You were on to the next one. Let's call Tyrone. See if man, that's crazy to think. For those of you who don't know, Love After Lockup, it's a show about love after lockup. And when they first started, I can't remember, it was sometime around the time that they first started and After Prison Show was first finding success. I remember I think it was 2017 when this took place. I don't know why that year sticks out to me. But they reached out to me and they were like, hey, help us find people for this show. This is what we're working on. And back during this time, I don't have a lot of experience talking to TV people. I don't want to say TV personalities because it's never a TV personality that you're going to speak with, except for once. I had that opportunity talking with somebody who wanted to portray Danny in a movie. This was an actual actor, which was a crazy situation. But back when Love After Lockup first contacted me, I've got minimal experience dealing with TV recruiters, like you mentioned.
Right.
That's what they are. These are people who go out and recruit talent. They're looking for the next TV show. And they reach out to me. And like I said, I got minimal experience dealing with this type of a situation, but I try to play the role like I know what I'm doing here. So when they're reaching out, they're like, hey, do you know people? And I'm like, do I? Do you know who I am? I am the After Prison Show. Because back during the time, that's what it was. It was the After Prison Show. But I don't do anything for free. And so while I'm having this conversation, I'm thinking to myself, what could they even offer to me? And of course, what they're trying to offer to me, they're trying to sell me a dream. They're like, yo, we could help you get a TV show. Like, this is so interesting what you're doing. Anyways, long story short, I never did anything with them. And it was more so because I truly felt like, they're not going to do anything for me. Maybe they would have. But again, who you're talking to when you're having these conversations, like Tom having the conversation, you were talking to the bottom of the barrel. Let's just be honest. You're not talking to a producer. You're not talking to a casting director. These are people who want to be casting directors and producers. So if they can find the talent, they want to attach themselves to the project some kind of a way. Maybe in some cases, you are talking to somebody a little higher up the food chain. But in a lot of times, you're just talking to recruiters, somebody who's trying to find that next big thing. Because if they can find it, and by finding it, it's just a luck of the draw. Does that person reach out to them because they put ads all over Craigslist like Love After Lockup has done? And a lot of other daytime TV shows have. If you go on Craigslist, you'll see ads for the court shows, for Judge Judy, like all sorts of different shows like that. But needless to say, I had the conversation with Love After Lockup back in the earlier days of that, and nothing ever came of it. I just didn't do anything with it. And the sad reality is I've had many a conversation with many a different TV show that I never pursued. I learned a lot from these conversations. And one of the things that I learned, because of course I'm always asking for financial compensation. I had the producers or people who were attached to Catfish reaching out to me wanting to make a TV show. And when they reached out to me, basically what they said was, they said, hey, you ever thought about a TV show? I said, of course I've thought about a TV show. Hell yeah, here's the show.
Yeah.
Okay? And when I pitched them this idea, they're like, "Oh my God, this is gold. Yes, this is the thing. Yes, absolutely. We're gonna do a show." Yeah. I just did their job for them, basically. But I would learn from them because, of course, I'm asking about the financial compensation as well. And I learned there's no money supposedly in television, especially not in a season 1. If you're a part of a TV show, and being a part of Love After Lockup, they weren't going to pay you nothing. Right. Little to nothing. Yeah. You would have made more money going to the plasma bank.
Yeah.
I honestly feel. I've got no issue or bone to pick with the TV show, but I just know that that's the way that it is. Now, if you went on Love After Lockup with Christy, and that show turned into so much more, right? Like the Tom and Christy show, oh yeah, then there's probably room for negotiation for compensation. But yeah, that's kind of crazy to think that, you're out here, you're coming home from prison, you're dealing with one tumultuous relationship after another, getting your heart broke around every corner. Yep. Tom just can't catch a break. Any ladies out there looking for a man not too ashamed to show his sensitive side, he will break shit to show you how much you.
I love you, Snack. No, I'm just kidding. No.
That's exactly what he'll do.
No,
it sounds like.
No, I just removed myself. When you made a comment, well, how did you feel? Well, I was actually a little despondent about the situation. I didn't break anything. I didn't tear anything up. But yeah. So what I wound up doing was I wound up picking the phone up and talking to Brittany, and my conversation with Brittany started out a lot like, "Great, thanks for hooking me up with this fantastic human being who just basically took advantage of all the money she could get from me while I just got home and I'm scrambling sideways."
I can hear the soundtrack to this conversation. It goes along a little something like, "Quit playing games with my heart, my heart." Is that like In Sync or Backstreet Boys or something along them lines?
Something. I was thinking more like a Kevin Gates soundtrack. But anyway, yeah. So I just what?
No, I mean nothing.
Yeah. So I was definitely despondent over the situation and a little heartbroken, obviously. And Brittany was like, in the greater scheme of things, she probably did you a freaking favor, because she probably came home to go get high and go right back to her addiction, and that's not what you need anyway.
Unless we're talking about a TV show, and that's exactly what you need. Can you see the views on this? Tom's there to pick up Christy. She does materialize. Let's just play devil's advocate. She shows up, and within 24 hours, she's locked in the bathroom. I mean, this is terrible, right? Tom's knocking on the door. What are you even doing in there? You can't be that constipated. You're not even eating processed food anymore. Anyways.
Yeah.
And it's just a shit show. It's a train wreck, and for the producers of this TV show, they're just sitting back eating.
They're going, yes, the views.
Hit her, Tom. Hit her. Show her how hurt you really are.
You're right. Kick the door in. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, straight to jail. I just came home. We're not doing this. So, yeah, but Brittany had a really good spin on it. She said, if all it cost you was a little bit of money, and I was like, yeah, it wasn't a little bit of money. Okay. First of all, it wasn't a little bit of money. Second of all, it sounds great from your end because, you got a boyfriend, and it's easy for you to say that. But the fact of the matter is I had vested myself in this situation, and when it didn't come to fruition, I was pissed. I think I was more mad that she didn't even have the decency to pick up a phone and say, "Ha ha, beat you." You know what I'm saying? I'd have been cool.
That was exactly what I was going to say. Tom, is that you?
Yeah.
Are you wearing lipstick?
You should be. So yeah, exactly what I was thinking. I was like, holy crap, I got smoked. And the worst part is I got stood up by a chick coming home from prison. I was like, I could stand it if it was at a freaking bar and a chick stood me up. But you came home from prison. So yeah, a little bit of a saltiness going on there.
Long story short, if there's any ladies out there,
look, here's the deal.
Tom needs a pen pal.
No, I don't need a pen pal. I need a normal human being that lives in the area that has a job,
Tom,
a vehicle.
Look, let's do something right quick here.
Sure.
You're a lonely guy.
Lonely? Do I strike you as lonely? Do I look lonely?
Looking for companionship. Let's take this back to the 90s. This is a video.
Oh, no.
I want you to look at the camera, Tom, and I want you to sell yourself.
Okay.
Speak to the world. Let them know.
Sell these sunglasses. Okay, I'm going to show you how you sell these sunglasses. Is it bright outside? It is. Do you have sunglasses? You don't. I do. Supply and demand. Anyway, so do you have a guy? You don't? Just so happens I'm a guy. If you're looking for a male species.
Meanwhile, the entire Waverly bookstore is responding right now.
They're all typing on their phone right now.
Hi, Tom.
Oh my God.
Not sure if you've ever experienced your curious side, but
not. So yeah, if you're hanging out at the Waverly bookstore, please don't text me. But no, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind meeting someone normal, and that's something that I wanted. We don't talk about that a lot, Joe. I don't think I've ever discussed really relationships other than mentioning Christy. I don't go out. I don't do the dating thing. I definitely don't do online dating. I just don't. I work. That's what I do. I work. I go home. I play with the dogs. I light stuff on fire in the backyard. We have a fire pit, 8-foot fire pit.
Jesus Christ. I was about to say, Tom talking about breaking things and being an arsonist.
Yes, I know. But
he's a real gem.
But no, I work my ass off.
You do.
That's all I do. I work my ass off. I go home. I play with the dogs. I got 2 pits that I love to death. You saw them. Big old doggies. And that's it. I don't really do a whole lot.
And maybe that's for the best.
Yeah,
you're a guy who's in a
that.
vulnerable situation, not trying to, minimize you in any regard. And to get a little more serious with this, you're trying to get beyond addiction. That's a huge step. You're doing that actively right now, living beyond addiction.
Yep.
You are working your ass off. I see that. And in the short amount of time that you've been home, you've acquired for yourself your second vehicle after your first one didn't work out.
Oh, God.
You got a good truck.
Yep.
You're maintaining that vehicle. You're maintaining a really positive, stable living environment. You've got everything structured in your life right now to really succeed.
Yeah.
And a big reason for that is probably by avoiding relationships. Yeah. Because as much as you talk about you would love to meet a normal person, the chances of that actually happening are probably not as good as you meeting somebody who could be not so normal and also not so good for you.
I don't need another toxic relationship in my life.
Yeah, because all that's going to lead to is just back to the same old song and dance.
That's why I say that's because that's my standards, though, and that's probably the reason why I have a hard time finding anybody. Is because if you don't have a job, you don't have your own vehicle, you're not maintaining your own type of environment where you're living. I don't care where you live, but if you're 40 and you're living at home with mom, I probably don't want a relationship with you. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's not the type of person I'm looking for.
Right.
And because I have that expectation, like education, I mean, you got to be a little educated. You got to be able to hold a conversation with me on the same level. I'm not saying you have to be on the same plateau, but I mean,
I just, the idea.
It's hard to find, so I don't look.
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens, whatever,
Look, we talk about you creating your own social media presence and a YouTube channel. What's that channel going to be? Life Beyond Addiction was a great name that I had just said right there. But another one to consider, Tom, would be Tom's quest for love. Hear me out on this, right? We treat this like Hell Date or Blind Date. Hey, you remember the TV show Blind Date?
Blind Date. Yeah.
Did you ever see the episode when the dude went out with the girl that was smoking crack? And she was like, I'll suck your dick for $10.
For $10.
And they got the little thought bubble that pops up, and he's like, really?
Yeah.
That's all I got at $10?
$10.
Why am I even in this car on this date right now?
Right.
This is seamless. Such a seamless transaction. We could do something like that with you, Tom. Tom out here trying to meet the right one, right? Anyways, it's just an idea. Not saying that
sure
anything.
I can't wait to see the comments to this one.
Anything should ever come of that or would ever come of that. Speaking of ideas, this is going to go totally to left field. And I told you I wanted to share this idea with you. So I'm going to share something with all of you that I was talking to Tom about. I'm going to share it exactly the way that I was telling Tom about this. You know, I've been doing After Prison Show now for 6+ years. I'm just coming back after the hiatus and a bit of a midlife crisis. And as I come back, I think to myself, it's takeover mode. Again, just like how it was when I first started on YouTube. And when I get that level of dedication and motivation to snatch and grab the success, it's hard to match that. At least in my mind, I feel like that. Will I be able to do these things? God only knows. Of course, I want to try to do that. But in this effort to try to do better and to, breathe life back into After Prison Show, this is a great example of me trying to do that. I think that this is fun. I think that this is enjoyable, this format that I'm doing with Tom here. I've been thinking of a bunch of other ideas, starting to feature people and help them create their own social media presence, i.e. Tom right here. Well, here's another idea that I just came up with, and this thing is so outlandish.
Oh, boy.
It is absolutely about to be gold. It really is.
Grab your hats.
All right, so look, Tom, I want to share this with you because I actually want you to be a part of this. I'm going to give you an assignment. Now, this is going to be a tough fucking assignment, okay? This is not even going to be easy, even for me. But I'm going to do this and I'm going to body this. And I might even make this available to everybody else as well. But it's going to take some work. I've already begun it. So on my end, it's going to be put together probably within the next week or so. You'll be seeing this. Tom, you don't know. I doubt that you know, but with creating videos, you can buy subscriptions to certain things. Like, for example, if you wanted to have music in your videos, you could buy subscriptions to these websites that have all of this music.
Right.
There's also something called stock video.
Right.
Stock video is literally video of just anything. Like, you could literally type in person in a grocery store and find stock video of a person in a grocery store. It'll be like an actor acting like they're looking at a can of jelly, right? Or whatever. Right. Well, I had this idea to use stock video for a number of different things. I'm not going to share all of the ideas because they're all golden. And I've already started using some stock video in a video that I did previously here. I say all of that to say this. To use stock video is not cheap. We're talking hundreds of dollars a year to be able to use unlimited stock video. And then if you want to use even better quality, it gets way more. I've seen this shit for like $1,000+ a year to use unlimited supplies of this. And there's a million different websites where you can get these stock videos from. I've gotten a membership to one of these. Now, I did some research to find the one that I really wanted. And I found that. I subscribed to this stock video website. Okay?
Is it porn?
No, it's not porn.
Okay.
It's any type of video file that you want.
But there's porn.
I don't think that there is. I haven't searched for that yet, but there probably is. So one of the biggest things that I got to search for is prison, right? So I got to search for prison. And some of these sites, they don't have much, and some of them have more than others. Well, the one that I subscribe to, it's got quite a bit. However, everything in relation to prison on this particular thing is created by the same person or production company. So basically what I'm saying is when I look for this video, I got this one video of a clip of prison. It's like a 10-second clip of something prison, right? Maybe it's like a panning shot of a prison cell, maybe some bars swinging or some chain swinging, something like that, right?
Right.
I look at this one video file, and this one video file turns into 168 different video files, all from the same video shoot, all different types of prison shit. And it's so good. So good, in fact, that I've downloaded all 168 video files. I've got them on my timeline in my editing software right now. And so good, in fact, that literally you can piece this together to not just tell a story, but to create a fucking movie.
Wow.
Folks, I have and am in the process of creating a prison movie created completely out of stock video and is copyright infringement free. Okay? I'm going to use 168 video files. I'm using their whole portfolio here. And this joint is so good. They've got multiple different people, all dressed and playing prison roles. Even a main character that sort of resembles myself. And others, right? So long story short, what I'm doing is I'm creating a prison movie. It's going to be out within a week or so, and it's going to be a complete narrated tale, right? You've probably seen the videos on the internet where they're like, you're probably wondering to yourself how I ended up in this predicament. Well, I'm about to tell you. You know, something Morgan Freeman-ish, something Shawshank Redemption-ish mixed with Joe's bullshit. And when I tell you that Lil Dookie Stain gonna make a major appearance in this, folks, you ain't got no fucking idea how hard this joint's about to hit. And it's coming. Like I said, my thought process is just way left field. So I'm sharing this with you, Tom, because of the fact that I said
I'm not playing Andy Dufresne.
You ain't got to play no role. But I'm saying I'm going to put the video together, right? Because, see, it's a puzzle. It's not put together in any type of a way, but you can go through all of these 10-second clips, and it tells a fucking story. And I don't even want to give it away too much, right? Okay. It starts off with a bunch of guys, and here I go, giving it all away.
Here you go. Yeah, you're giving it away now.
Starts off with a bunch of guys. They're walking. They're getting to prison. You know, it even goes as far as to have the dude getting fucking released. Right? This shit almost runs like the movie Con Air to a certain degree, mixed with mixed with a couple of different prison movies, TV shows. It almost has like a prison break-ish type of a feel, but nobody's breaking out of prison. Right. But there's fighting, there's violence, there's chow halls, there's visitation. Like, this bitch plays like a movie. I'm going to narrate the whole goddamn thing. We're going to make up a story. It's going to be the hardest fucking prison story you ever heard. And probably just like so many others, shots at the entire fucking platform made up. You know what I mean? Just
you heard it here, right here from Joe.
Making the shit up as I go.
This is Joe.
You're probably wondering how I ended up in this predicament. Well, I'm here to tell you. And it's not pretty. You know, it's going to be completely narrated. It's going to be gold. I think it's going to be great. So what I'm saying is, Tom, when I get it put together, maybe you could do your own narration, right? Just make it up as you go.
I'm picking it up, what you're putting down.
There's enough people in this thing, and it's not a lot. It's probably like maybe 10 total people in this thing, to where you've got characters. It's almost like a Dungeons and Dragons, so to speak.
Nice.
So maybe we could make it like a contest, right?
Hey, I like that.
Like I said, it would take you some time. This thing, I think, is probably about 30 or 40 minutes all the way put together. Can you imagine? I've got that many 10-second clips that this joint comes out to about 30 or 40 minutes. They're not all 10-second clips. Some of them are probably like 30. But what if we did like a contest? Who could create the best story to fit the movie? And then I narrate it in a video. We could literally take the same video and run that joint for the next year. And it would be totally different every video because it's got a different storyline.
I like that.
Maybe change it up, put a couple of people, put the visitation in front of the basketball fight scene, and my God, the ideas that come to me with this are just crazy.
You have a lot of free time on your hands, Joe.
Actually, I really don't.
No, I'm kidding.
I got a child. I got a business. I got 2 YouTube channels. I got 0 free time. I got 0 sleep time as well. So a little sleep deprived, but totally running on caffeine and motivation.
That's what I like about you, Joe. You know that?
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks.
The coffee.
Oh, the coffee?
No, the motivation too, buddy. You're definitely motivated. But so let me ask you, Joe. I mean, because I want to pick your brain a little bit on this.
Yeah, please.
I do. Just little picks here and there. All right. So the whole thing is built off of stock. You put your storyline together, and then you do a narration for it.
Right.
So now you're opening the door also for watchers, your YouTubers that are watching this to participate. This is really great.
Like, it's literally, like I said, there's a cast of characters in this. This stock footage is so good. This is the best stock footage I've ever seen. So let's say you were looking for prison footage on this particular site. If you were looking for stock footage prison related, this would be the place to get it from. However, even though there's 168 files and they're every facet of prison life except for a shower scene, they don't have that. You're limited to these characters.
Right.
However, these characters stay the same throughout all of this footage.
Right.
You've got a guy that basically portrays like the main character. You've got the villains, you've got just so much shit going on that you really can tell this whole story. And this shit's going to play like a movie. Right. It is going to be good. I want to make it funny as a bitch. And like my funny, unfortunately, sometimes comes across way too over the top. But I think I'm going to go with that because that's me. Now, again, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to open the floor up for people to be able to watch this. After you've seen what I put together, you can watch this on mute. Shut me the fuck up. Look, this whole thing that I'm sharing about this major bazillion dollar idea, not really that, but this just good idea that I think is so original. I say that I want to allow people who might want to do this. I don't think many people would do this because of the fact that it will take time to narrate something. But all you got to do is just freestyle it. What comes to your mind? So I'm going to make it a contest. Okay. My video is going to be coming out very soon. I was also going to do a behind the scenes of how I'm actually putting this whole thing together. But I guess this is about as behind the scenes as it gets because I've just given the whole idea away right here, right?
Pretty much.
But still, there's not much else you can do with this except put it together exactly the way that I've put it together and run with it, right? I thought about using other prison YouTubers as characters in this because some of the people who play in this stock footage look like other prison YouTubers. So this literally could be like an RP IRL movie. Role play in real life movie.
Yeah.
I want to make it a contest. Short of it. If you want to partake in the contest, the winner gets $250.
Woo! I was thinking maybe a date with me. Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind.
Well, that's priceless, Tom.
I know. I mean, that's $5, but you got to be female.
You got your coffee over there?
I have.
You might want to take a sip of that because that sounded extra thirsty.
It was thirsty.
Anyways, I wanted to share that. And Tom, if you get some time, because you're like me, you don't have a whole lot of time. You're trying to work as often as you possibly can. It would be cool to hear your take on something like that.
Oh, absolutely. You have no idea. And you think you go over the top? You have no clue.
Oh, I can imagine.
You have no idea.
All right, we're getting close to wrapping this up. There's one final topic that I want to hit on before we do so. You're just recently coming home after doing almost 4 years. You've been home since August?
August, yeah.
In that time, you've worked a few different jobs,
Sure.
A handful of different jobs, trying to find the best fit for yourself.
Yes.
But you also mentioned being on Craigslist and, looking for anything. Yeah, matter of fact, you had said, you're almost willing to do anything, right?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
I'm not going.
Hold on, man.
I'm not going anywhere crazy with
Okay,
this.
cool.
But what I'm saying is, had there been other crazy opportunities for you, possibly found on Craigslist, like what other thing has there been anything that's popped up that's been a little on the like sus side? Like, am I really willing to do that for $1?
Yeah. So like you have all the medical study ones on there that I occasionally look at them just to see what they're saying.
Take a Pfizer shot.
Yeah.
Now you've got an arm growing out of your forehead.
Yeah. Third eye. Anyway, so I've looked at a few of them, but no, I think the wildest one I saw on there, and it didn't stay on there very long, was there was a guy who was looking for someone to come over to his house to clean in the nude. And he did not specify whether or not he wanted a woman or a man.
And you thought to yourself,
I
can clean.
I thought to myself, I wonder how much he's paying for this. No. Just, you have to think to yourself.
Did you reach out to him?
No. But I really, really wanted to, just on the funny side of things.
So you did. You did reach out.
But I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
You didn't reach out to him, Tom?
I didn't. No,
Let's get a little interrogation like.
No.
You sure, Tom?
I'm sure. Yeah.
But you did reach out to him.
But I didn't reach out to him. It was just so much. It was so over the top. I was like, why did this guy not specify?
Yeah, Tom thought about this for a while.
I really did. I was like, this is a little weird, though.
I was thinking. He lingered on this one for a moment.
For about that long, maybe.
So it's funny because it's similar to a situation that I found myself in when I came home from prison, looking on Craigslist, almost willing to do anything for, a day's wage.
For $1, yeah.
For an honest day's wage. I'm not honest. But, I ran across an ad where this person was like, hey, I'm interested in buying used men's underwear, but they got to be dirty. And I'm like, shit.
I got a whole box full of them. What are
shit.
you talking about right
I'm about to wholesale these monies to. So I did actually interact with that person.
Right.
And unfortunately, in my circumstance, my price was we couldn't negotiate it. He wanted to pay like $10 or $15 for a pair of drawers, and I'm like, yo, man, I'll give you like two for 40 or something. I think I was trying to get a little bit too much, and that deal fell through. God, I feel so ashamed of myself even admitting that to y'all. But I've talked about that before. Name another prison YouTuber that'll talk about coming home from prison willing to sell their used skitty drawers in an effort to just try to make an honest day's wage. I mean, shit. What I was looking for was half a day's pay.
Right.
And back during that time, I'm pretty sure it was $40.
Yeah.
I'm coming home making like $80 a day.
Yeah.
So $40 just to live in a pair of drawers for a couple of days, man, I can do that. But yeah, I don't know. Would you have done something like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd have went out and bought a whole case of underwear.
and then let me tell you something.
The whole case of underwear.
Had we actually had the rendezvous, and I don't mean like but I mean met up in a
At the
public
store.
Meet me at the Waverly Inn. I'll be there all day. Had we actually met up to do the deal, to get the deal done? Tom, talk about selling that pair of sunglasses.
These sunglasses. I bet you I can sell you these sunglasses. Let me ask you a question. Is it bright where you're standing? It is? Well, put on your sunglasses. You don't have any, but I do. Supply and demand.
Yeah, that didn't land as well as I thought. That was actually quite cringeworthy.
It absolutely sold. You know why? Because it worked for the Wolf of Wall Street.
That was yeah.
I'm saying if it works for the Wolf of Wall Street,
it's got to be true.
For me, it's got to be true.
Sell me this pen.
Sell me this pen.
Anyways, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. This was a little all over the place. I guess the real topic here was love after lockup.
Love after lockup.
And just how...
Or lack of love after lockup.
Yeah, and just how crazy that can be at times.
It is pretty crazy.
Tom, I'm sorry to hear about the troubles you've had trying to find love interest. I'm sure there's somebody who's watching this right now that's saying...
God, that dude's a douchebag.
Better him than me.
I'm glad it's him. It's not me.
Yeah,
sure.
The right one will come along in the right time. The right place at the right time. All that good jazz. The most important thing right now is you're doing what you need to do for you.
Exactly.
You got that truck outside. You got this job. You got many different hats that you're wearing. You're a very talented, very articulate guy. And I think the more that I'm showing you here, I think people are going to actually really want to see what you're going to do on your thing.
I got to tell you, not trying to plug myself or anything, and I haven't
What?
started anything.
We're not even at the bookstore.
I'm going to tell you, oh, but we're back to that. I'm not a clown. Anyway, so I wanted to plug something real quick. Hey, stop. Why am I here? Why do I let you do this to me? So what I do want to say is this. So I want to start a podcast. When I start that podcast, one of the things that I want to make sure that I showcase in it and that I have people come in and I'm going to hound them down until I get them to sit down and talk is I want to talk about prison reform and how we're going to change how the justice system treats people differently. Just because you have money shouldn't mean that you get out of trouble. Just because you're broke shouldn't mean you go to jail. It shouldn't work that way. And I think it's something that needs to be discussed, Joe. That's my honest opinion. I know everybody has a different take on it, but I really want to start a forum for people to be able to voice their opinion and get it out there where the whole world has to see it and look at it. It's just my opinion. Everybody's different.
Well, there's a lot to digress from that topic right there. And again, when you start your podcast and your channel, I wish you all the success with that.
Don't worry, you'll be there.
Oh, God, that's the topic that I hate the most. Let's try to change the world. It's not going to change.
Don't want to change the world. You know what I want to do? I want to open the world's eyes. That's all.
They are open. There's
they're not.
45 prison YouTube channels all talking about.
But they're not moving in the right direction. It's good to talk about it, but let's have some motivation. Let's bring those people that are responsible for the things that we see and hold them to task. Put them in a chair, put them in a hot seat, make them be in a hot seat, or go to the General Assembly and with a microphone and stand up there and go, well, why do you do this with prisons? Why are you charging people this much for phone calls? Why?
But again,
ask some hard questions. That's all.
We could talk about that all day long.
We could, absolutely.
Folks, I want to thank you for taking the time. I truly hope that this was a video that you enjoyed. And if it was, hey, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about this. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted and make the most of every day. Peace.
Peace, everybody.